Hey, happy Friday. Welcome to the Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, 30 plus year video game enthusiast and industry analyst. And today for March 20th, 2025, we're going to go through the latest gaming news, what I've been playing, and, whatever else happens. Some interesting news has come about, so today might be just full of news and no games, which is always cool. I don't mind playing games, actually. That helps me get in some game time when sometimes I don't have time. There's a lot of time in the time I've said those words. But morning, Ultronymous. Okay, so interesting stuff. Switch or Nintendo had their direct. It was Switch focus. I'm having trouble with the words already, and I haven't had my sneeze yet, so be prepared. But we'll talk about what was going on in the direct. Also, what was the cat and dog are playing behind me. There's that. There's some Ubisoft news, which is pretty interesting. And what else did I title this video? Atomfall impressions. There's a reason I forgot that, but we'll talk about Atomfall here in a second. So, Alternative, your desk is free. Oh yeah, that's right. I have a lot of that going on right here. This is from yesterday's Gundam Explained show. I just kind of left them here. What's up, GMKLX? Good to see you. Okay. Let's jump into the next part here. Okay, what I've been playing. So I got some game time in yesterday. I was really happy about that. Because during the week, again, I can get busy. I played more Gal Guardians, the demo, because like I said, it's one of those where with the demo, the game just came out, but your progress from the demo carries over. And I feel like lately I need to be a little more mindful of just buying games all the time. Because there's a few games I bought recently, Metroidvanias, that I played for a little bit. I was like, And it's like, I don't need to do that. With the Metroidvania, it's like you really need to know. So again, I'm playing the demo, but I really like it. This Gal Guardians, Servants of the Dark is straight up more of the Symphony of the Night type of Metroidvania that I like. It's almost like what the first Gal Guardians was doing, but that ended up being more of just a traditional Castlevania. Hey, Midnight Hatter, good to see you. Okay, so Gal Guardians, I like it. It's straight up Symphony of the Night Metroidvania, but it has its own thing to it. I like how it's different in that there's a castle at the beginning, but you actually aren't exploring that. That's already there. You go back to that, and the souls you find that you then put into skeletons that then, once that character is revived, they add stuff for you, whether that's a person to buy potions from, someone to upgrade your armor. There's probably a lot more. There's probably like 10 different skeleton bodies laying around. The one thing that I'm having trouble with, though, more than most Metroidvania games, is how easily I don't know where to go next. And sometimes it's just the way the layout of that tile that you're on is structured. It's hard to see where to go and on the map, but I'm figuring it out slowly. Good game. Okay, let's talk about Atomfall, because I think the main thing here is to give my impressions. This is a new game that just came out. It's on Game Pass. It's made by Rebellion. They've made some unique and interesting games. The ones you've probably heard of the most, Sniper Elite, which are really well done. It's very interesting because I don't know what engine it is. It might be their own engine. Let's look that up, actually. Atomfall engine. I'm guessing it's their own engine. Being their in-house engine. Okay. So what's interesting about this engine is you can tell if you look closely it's outdated, but at the same time, I think they just know how to work with the engine so well, just with the right texture. This is where that art direction comes in, or art design, however you want to say it. It's where the game looks good, even though you can, for people like me, you can tell it's aged, because it pretty much is a Sniper Elite just in first person. And it's really not just Sniper Elite in first person. I would say from an engine point of view, texturing, what a game looks like, the game itself is very interesting. I would say, so I might complain a lot, but I would say at the end of the day, Atomfall is a good game, one worth your time if you have Game Pass. If you don't have Game Pass, I think if you love games like Fallout, Elden Ring, you would like this. But I won't say that it is fully a Fallout and Elden Ring game. It's very interesting because it does things that I like. Dialogue is short and sweet. The world building is done very visually. You'll pick up some notes, but there's just you can read the full note, but it also gives you like a brief, and so you can pick up what's going on and what to do really quick. So the pacing of the game, well done. What's interesting about this though is when it comes to the combat, because the combat isn't at all what you would think. Maybe it's one on one, you could get taken out easily. Two on, 2-on-1, you're toast. I mean, obviously, it probably opens up later. I've gotten a rifle, a shotgun, a pistol, a bat, or like a baton, and I've had fun going out into the world, exploring. Again, it looks good because the art design is on point to kind of help balance the aged engine, and it's fun to explore and to pick up items. That is what's fun. And it's fun too in a way more than Indiana Jones, because one thing is it's very similar to the Indiana Jones game. The way this kind of setup is of exploring, picking up items, figuring out where to go. Except the Indiana Jones game is done, even if it doesn't seem like, in a very linear fashion, whereas in Atomfall, it's like an open world of, okay, where do I go? What do I do? That is fun. It's just the combat is not fun. And that is a problem, especially because this other element, the way the game is designed, it has work has messaged me. It has okay, it has a thing and you can modify it, but it's like three how does it work? It's like every 3 minutes the game saves. So keep that in mind. It's set up for every 3 minutes the game to automatically save. Why would a game need to automatically save every 3 minutes? Well, that is so that you can restart pretty close to where you were. And why would you need to do that? Well, because the game is almost designed around sort of a trial and error style, which is not bad on its own, but for me, it breaks up that fast pace that the game then had at first, because there's these enemies. It's still early on, because I've only played an hour and 7 minutes. And that's what I'm also saying. In an hour and 7 minutes, I've done a whole lot. There's separate types of enemies you face. There's this one enemy that will take you out in 1 or 2 hits. And one of the little missions I'm on is I have to sneak through this place and do things. And there's the enemies. But how it works is you will have to go back and forth sometimes. And then other enemies will then go to where you were before to like fill in the area. Almost so then when you backtrack, then you have to deal with enemies. And that's very superficial. And I don't like that, especially because the enemies, they all look the same. It's like the same looking guys. And then when you die, you do start really close to where you were. But then I'm like, okay, do I really want to go into that room again with the 3 guys and then just try to figure out what weapon to use to kill them? I'm not even having fun with the combat. I really just wanted to explore, because now I got the power. I got the key to get into the office to turn on the power. So it's like this weird balance of the exploration is fun. The combat is not. So then when I die in a combat encounter, it's like, okay, in order to move forward, it's not that, I can go into the office now that I got the key. It's I have to figure out this encounter, or not figure it out. I have to just kill these people. And it's like, that's where it took me out. I'm like, the combat is not fun. It's not like Sniper Elite combat, because this game is supposed to be more of a survival-like. So it's more of a few hits will kill you, but you can press start easily, craft a bandage, put on a bandage. But it's tough. Now, I just want to check something real quick, just because I hear I'm getting some notifications. I want to make sure it's not anything that's a big deal. Oh, kind of a big deal, but not at this time. Okay, cool. All right. So Atomfall, give it, if you have an opportunity to give it a try, because it's on Game Pass or some other opportunity to try it. You might like it, because I do think there's something there, but I don't know. Do the people you save not give you hints about what to do next? Yeah, if you're talking about Atomfall, yes. So you don't, and that's the thing, you don't come across many people, but when you do, that's usually how you're getting. And I remember I was watching was it a review of it or something? And then I talked about it here on the stream, how it seems like it has a really neat setup of like you get clues of where to go. But playing it, and I'm playing on the second to hardest difficulty. There's 5 difficulties. I'm playing on the second to hardest because that is what they recommend for veteran gamers, right? Not that it's the hardest, but it's like the recommended way to play the game. And when I do talk to an NPC or get a note, the game immediately on the map tells me where to go. Whereas in the previews, they made it sound like that's not the case. So the game is pretty easy, except the combat is not fun. So that's where it makes it, not that it's hard, but I just don't feel like trying too much. Oh, I meant Gal Guardians, but good to know Atomfall has loose guides. Yeah, so that's actually, she brought it up because it allowed me to then clarify that point about Atomfall. You know what? So it's funny that you say that, Ultronimus. The dude, there's an NPC that told me exactly what to do. They're like, you need to get to the cave beyond the forest. I'm like, okay. And that even has a little icon of where to go, but I haven't revealed that part of the map. So it's like, oh, I don't know where to go. We'll figure it out eventually. Anyway, so yeah, I'm playing Gal Guardians, Atomfall. Probably not going to continue Atomfall unless I just happen to get an itch from hearing other people talk about it. That's how it happens. But for sure, Gal Guardians. I'll be playing that. Okay, let's move on. Here's an interesting one. What does the Ubisoft Tencent subsidiary mean for gamers? Let's just read this real quick. Okay. Assassin's Creed just had, let's see. According to, the wording of the announcement, and this is Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot, indicate that these 3 franchises will be the primary focal point for Ubisoft and Tencent. In Yves' memo, he refers to Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six as the company's 3 most powerful franchises. The explicit goal of Tencent investment is boosting these franchises so they become undisputed global icons. So what is going on is exactly, what I thought would happen. And I brought this up on Twitter. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because this is another example in the gaming sphere. When people online talk about gaming, when something is happening, people automatically assume doom and gloom, the worst, negative. Oh, they're doing all this stuff, behind the scenes. I bet all this stuff is happening. And that's why they're going to close down. They're going to be bought out. They're going to sell off their franchises. And I'm just thinking, okay, the Guillemot family is still in control, and they have been since the founding of Ubisoft. My guess is they're going to want to retain control. What do some companies do sometimes when they're publicly traded and need to retain control? They might decide to go private and try to get investments. In this case, Tencent is investing in those properties for Ubisoft to develop for. Super smart move, makes sense. Did I already say there's a company I work for? It was public. Because of the way the economy is, because of the way of the nature of the way that works, the whole, board, it kind of deciding what to do for it, moving away from that and getting where it's, and there's probably more technical financial terms for this, but liquidity or money to invest in and then make a return for the investors, different than kind of a shareholder style thing. And that's what's going on here. And again, the reason I want to bring this up is because there are people out there, and I'll name them because I named them in Twitter. Destin, Luke Stevens. These are people that talk about video games on video online that just happen to have a large following. And the most disappointing thing when I would watch them and their takes on Ubisoft is just talking about how bad Ubisoft is. And yeah, they're going to get shut down. They just don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, where's all this coming from? Anyway, so it's good that, we can kind of like put everything to rest. Again, I know making content on YouTube is about sensationalizing, but the truth is Ubisoft knows what they're doing. And they having to navigate I was going to say the word tumultuous. I think I'm saying it wrong. But, the industry, video games, since COVID, remote work, all these things, the video game industry, when you think you can pour a whole bunch of money in and get it back, it doesn't really work that way anymore. And so Ubisoft's navigating that, at the same time navigating the social stuff that's going on online. So, yeah, it's very interesting. So hopefully we can move away from the kind of default negative. This is, oh no, they're a failure. I bet behind the scenes there's a bunch of harassment. It's all the DEI, and it's like that's not necessarily what it is. I miss when things brought up good news or were optimistic. Exactly. So, and that's what the good news is out of this. Ubisoft is able to do exactly what they want to be able to do. They can focus on their main franchises and actually get a backing to do so without having to worry about some sort of, and when I say political, I don't mean government political, maybe socio-political, maybe based on what, a board shareholders might say we need to do with the game because now, Tencent's going to be like, okay, Ubisoft, you should know how to make a game that sells millions. We want that million. Whereas, shareholders going to be like, well, the trends now are diving into this. So can you do that? Anyway, it was nice to get that off my chest because I feel like for a year, people were just bad mouthing them. And then Ubisoft, and I wanted to actually bring up the other part. Ubisoft employees worried about layoffs after Tencent deal. That's just going to happen. That actually happened in my company. That's too bad. But it's because of where these companies were in the first place, where it's kind of that risk. It's like your work is based on risk or your success. So, all right. So Nintendo had their direct yesterday to reveal a bunch of Switch games. They all looked cool. They all looked fun. I had no problem. There was nothing like, what are you doing, Nintendo? Except for a couple things. But there's some games that they showed off that I don't know if they're exclusive or it's just this direct Nintendo had the opportunity. For instance, that Marvel Cosmic Invasion or whatever that's called, Ultronimus. I bet that's something you're into. But Dadimu, look, I think their graphics are amazing. I think their beat 'em up style is a little basic. I think they could integrate more combat systems and like the Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge, very basic game. I think they could integrate more. So I'm hoping they do that with this new one that they're making because it's a bunch of Marvel. You know what? Let me see if I had something up. You guys are getting spoiled. All of the news I'm going to talk about. Okay. Well, actually, let's just go through from the top. I'm going to just run through these real quick. Dragon Quest 1 plus 2 HD 2D remake one day. One day I would like to say I did that. And that happens with games every once in a while. I think Dark Souls is one. When it first came out, I didn't play it. And then I was like one day. And then at first it came out, I died. And then after Bloodborne, I went back. Okay. Don't remember that. Some things I probably snoozed off. Shadow Labyrinth, that's that weird one. It looks like a Metroidvania, but it's Pac-Man. It was that Amazon show made by Tim Miller. Had an episode of that. Okay, Patapon 1 plus 2 replay. That's actually funny because this is a Sony game. Is this an example of? I don't know how it works. Bandai Namco get with Sony. Hey, do you have some properties that we can then put on some other, and then they all make money off of that? I don't know if that's the plan here. And since Patapon's not like a huge IP, it's easy for Sony to get away with doing something like that. I don't know the deal, or they lost, or they don't own Patapon anymore. I don't know. But I played that on the PSP, and that's a fun game. It's just a rhythm game. There's not much to it. I wouldn't sit at my computer and play it. Let's see. Metroid 4. I can't talk. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Okay. It did not look interesting to me. I so disappointed. Because when they first started showing it, I'm like, oh, this looks like a remaster of Metroid Prime 2 or 3. And then this is 4. And then they did the 4 stuff. Again, I'd have to play it to figure it out. But sometimes I feel like Nintendo games are nowadays doing it whoa, here's this new gimmick. And it's like, well, that's actually been going on in, core gaming for a while now. Whereas in the past, Nintendo was always introducing these new elements. I feel like, I would play it, okay, it's going to show me an ad. How many? Anyway. The last Metroid game, what is it called? That's how bad it was. Dead something? What was it? Dread? Metroid Dread. It's one of those things that I don't understand where that was a competently made game, but that's not a Nintendo game. That's not a Metroid game. Nintendo takes special care with their IP, and that Metroid Dread was not that. And I'm afraid with the Metroid Prime sort of development history. It's been crazy. Switching hands of developers coming in, retooling. I'm almost afraid now they're just releasing this game because they have to. They've said they've been working on it, and I don't know. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. Okay, let's see. Disney Villains Cursed Cafe, would never play that, but it's kind of interesting. That's a very unique game that's probably for someone. Okay. Gradius Origins, super shocked about this. Okay. So it stopped at Gradius 3. And for me, it's like, well, 4 and 5 are really good. And I'm surprised we're not seeing that on a collection or anything, unless they're going to do that separately. Gradius 5 is probably one of the greatest shmups of all time. I don't know if they've re-released it digitally. I don't think they have. I need to double check on that because I would love to earn trophies for that game. Gradius Origins not only has Gradius 1, 2, and 3, but it has Salamander 1 and 2, and Life Force. And Salamander and Life Force, they're pretty much just Gradius, if you want to get technical. But here's what else they did. And this is Konami. Konami is badass about this. Konami is adding Salamander 3, which is a brand new entry into the games. They did the exact same thing with the Castlevania Dominus collection, where they added not a brand new entry, but they took their first arcade game and then completely redid it from the ground up. Brand new game. They did this with Gradius Rebirth on the Wii, where it was a brand new Gradius game. They did the same thing with Castlevania Rebirth on the Wii. I think it's really neat that Konami has continually developed classic games in a way where they are better than modern games trying to riff on classic games. If you don't believe me, check out Castlevania Arcade. Is that what it was called? I'm forgetting. On the Dominus collection. It's fantastic. It looks great. I can't believe they did that. So I'm excited about Gradius Origins. Arrives August 7th. That's around, not exactly, but close, a year from the Castlevania Dominus collection. So is August a sweet spot for the classic Konami stuff? I wonder. Classic Konami stuff. Okay, Rift of the Necro Dancer, I don't know, Tamagotchi Plaza, Pokemon Legends. Unfortunately, these are some things I don't care about. Okay, the virtual game card. I found this to be very interesting. Okay. Nintendo is introducing a new system for playing games mimicking physical game cards with something called virtual game cards. These will let you shift games between two Switch systems by virtually ejecting and loading games to each console and allow limited lending between members in your Nintendo account family group. Okay, so real quick, right now, if I have two Switches, I can download the games on both, and if I'm signed into my account, I can play them on both. Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure it works that way. In fact, someone on their Switch could download a game, and I could sign in on my account and play that game. So what they're doing here instead is if someone is physically with you and they're on your Nintendo account, you can then share it to them, but then you can't play it. So unless I'm seeing something incorrect here, they're actually taking away functionality. But I got to look on the flip side. Is there something good about this virtual game card? And I don't think so, because again, it's just tied to family accounts. It can't be like a friend. You can't be, hey friend, you're hanging out. Do you want to borrow this game? I'm done with it. But they would only have 2 weeks to play it. It would make sense if you could do it for anyone, because let's say someone has 2 weeks to play that game and then it stops for them and they are not meeting up with you. They might be like, well, I want to finish this game. I'll buy it. But what about if it's, but that's why it doesn't make sense. Like if it's in the family would know if the game is good or not, if they want to buy multiple copies for other people to play. So I don't think this is a good feature. I do think this is Nintendo really trying to get people to buy their own copies of games. They have no issues with people buying multiple Switches. They have no issue with that, but I think I feel like they see maybe there's a way that they can make more money getting people to buy a second copy of a game or something. I don't know. I find it very weird that this is a special feature they're showing off. Tell me, please, if there is some benefit to it that I'm missing. Right? If they made it to where the person could then keep it and you sign off and it's theirs and they own it, that's a neat, because it's digital. But other than that, there's nothing to this. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are saying that. Jim Killex, yeah, they about half kneecapped it, Midnight Hatter, nickel and dime. Good. I'm not alone on this. It felt like when they were announcing it, it's almost like they're saying, hey, we're going to take away some functionality. And it's like, I'm not applauding on this one. Nickel and dime Tendo. I like stuff like that. Okay. Anyway, just something to keep in mind, although there hasn't been too many instances where that's been too. I mean, there are a few instances where the way it works right now has worked out, but the new way, yeah, forget about it. Okay, Atomfall review thread. I wanted to look at this just to kind of gauge based on my what I talked about just now of me playing it. It looks like 79 average. I feel like the reviews are pretty spot on, especially if unlike me, if you can get over the combat, you would, because again, I loved the exploring. The game is fast paced right into the action, so I hope it does really well. I like the developer a whole lot. What else did I have? Okay, Assassin's Creed Black Flag now has the announced tag on PSN. So I don't know what this means exactly. Is this a remaster? Is this, and I wonder if that's part of it. I wonder if that is, part of Tencent investing money into them. Because Assassin's Creed is one of the franchises they'll make money off of. Knowing it's like, oh, you have Assassin's Creed in the works, more than just Nexus that's coming out or whatever. But like, Black Flag. So here, I loved Black Flag. I'm curious if this is, again, I don't know. Is this just a re-release? Is it a remaster? Is Black Flag not on PSN already? I thought it would be. Regardless, the one thing I do like about Ubisoft accounts, I don't know if it would work with this game because it's so old, is the cross-save. More than a few years ago, back when that Immortals Phoenix Rising came out, I got to the end and then I just never beat it because sometimes there's this weird psychological thing where it's like I didn't want to beat it. There was more to do, but I was at the last boss. Anyway, years later, it's on Game Pass because I was playing it on PlayStation. I was able to download it on Game Pass on my PC, and it had my save file, and I was able to beat the last boss right then in one sit down. Assassin's Creed Shadows right now, I'm doing that between PC and Xbox. My saves, I love it. I wonder if my Black Flag save is still there. How long ago did I beat Black Flag that maybe I'd have to redo it? Because they have my Origin save. That's another one. That if they have my Black Flag save, it's like, oh, I could see the world that I almost, I beat it, but obviously there's all the collectibles and all that. I'm curious. I really like that game. All right, Jim Killex. Remember, Nintendo tried to combat game rentals way back in the day, but conceded because Sega was all in on renting as. Oh, you know what? Either I didn't know that or I forgot that tidbit, but that's pretty interesting, and that falls in line. It's very interesting how much sometimes Nintendo seems anti-consumer, but it's like you almost want to see they're just protective, maybe. And I kind of get that in a way, but yeah, being pro-consumer, I always think it's good for the industry, and Xbox that's kind of their take with everything they do. Even though it's funny, even though the games that Microsoft comes out with don't always turn out the best, it's like they're trying to get a bunch of games out there, backwards compatibility, play anywhere, cross save, all that stuff. Okay, real quick, we're gonna be ending here shortly, but I want to show you guys. I've been doing this. I was about to say every year, but I started in 2024. Is to kind of, so this is my 2024 game of the year list, like where here's all on the left, it's all the games that came out that year that I beat. And then previous is games that I've beat from previous years. And then here's games that came out that I didn't get to. Things that aren't full games, but I spent a lot of time in. And then I think there's 4 main components I think I speak about with the game, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I wrote that. And then my 2025 so far. So I've beaten Avowed, Guns of Fury. I'm realizing it's blocked on the side a little bit. That's okay. Sniper Elite Resistance, Variance Next, Rendering Ranger 2. I've beaten all of these games so far. Guns of Fury, I have that highlighted because so far that's my favorite game I played this year. And then previous year's games I've beaten from the previous year. We have the Smurfs, Record of Lotus War, Godzilla PS4. I think that counts because technically I beat it, but there's still things to get to unlock all the trophies, you know. And then things that I'm waiting on, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, Rise of the Ronin, Stellar Blade, Atomfall. And I guess it's a mix of waiting. What did I put on here? Yeah, I guess waiting. Waiting and, backlog, I guess is maybe the term, as we say. Actually, in Gunpla and video games, it's always been backlog. Yeah, Monster Hunter Wilds. I want to try that Blade Chimera. Oh, yeah, the DLC for Sniper Elite Resistance. I have to mark that down or I'll forget. Split Fiction. It Takes Two, and I'm actually playing that currently with my wife. Gal Guardian, Servant of the Dark, and Warriors. So this is, the Dynasty Warriors game that was made as the isometric roguelike. I want to get it so bad, and I was just reminded of it because I think some DLC came out or something. Let's see. You could also just look at Nintendo's handling of Pokemon. Oh, yeah. I know, it's crazy. Ugh, MSXL, my ancient nemesis. This is actually Sheets, but I know what you mean. Seeing a bunch of cells and all that. Yeah. I use it all the time at work. But yeah, I guess that's about it all. Yeah, thanks for joining. Main takeaways I'd say from this is Atomfall. My impressions are there's things about it that are probably going to stop me from playing it fully, but it seems like a good game. I think you'll have fun with it. And then, yeah, with the Switch, I find it very interesting with this direct news, this whole, the Switch virtual card thing, unless with the Switch 2, there's more revealed of the benefit for us. It's not a benefit. They're actually taking away functionality. So anyway, that's that. Anyway, it is Friday. It's the weekend. Hopefully I'll stream something over the weekend. I usually say I will try to, but it depends if I know how long of a gaming session I'm going to have or not. So, all right, guys, I'm going to head out. Have a good rest of your Friday because Friday's awesome. Have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you later. Peace out.